How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be going over a couple different ways that you can apply some patterns to some complicated surfaces. So right now I'm going to go over the easiest one, which is using the flex feature. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a arbitrary sized rectangle. Alright. And then I'm going to extrude it, say 10. And now I'm going to make another sketch on the surface. And we're just going to go with hexagons. I'm going to constrain this and then determine its size, say 10. Okay. And now I'm just going to do an extruded cut. So now we have a hole in our surface. So now we want to make this into a flat grill. So I'm going to do fill pattern. And when this asks for your fill boundary, you're just going to select the face that you want it to fill. And then you have to select the part, or you're going to want to select the feature that you want to fill. So I'm going to select the cut extrude down here. And now you have this kind of spaced out grill pattern. All these yellow spots are your instances of your extruded cut that you're patterning. So now what you're just going to do is you're going to finagle around with this to your liking. And here you just have whatever your space in between all your instances is, and then your angle between each one of them. So if I wanted it to be 30 degrees, you see it's a little bit shallower for each. And we'll change this to 15. And right here is how far away from the edges of your border do you want it to be. So I don't want it to be completely on it, so I'm going to set it off by 1. So it sets it off a little bit more. And then you can change this based on your preference, whatever your design is. And then you just hit the check mark. And you can see that now we have a grill. So now, what we're going to do is we're just going to bend this. So if you go to your insert, and you go to features, you see you have this flex tool right here. So you're going to select flex, and it's going to ask what you want to bend. So you're just going to select this surface. And it's going to give you this bending point, which is going to be what everything is going to be bending around. And you see in your feature tree over here, you have bending, twisting, tapering, and stretching. But for this, we're going to be doing the bending. So you're going to go here, and if you do 45, 45, you can see that it bends this at about a 45 degree angle. Now, let's say you want to make this into a cylinder. You just put 360, and then it bends these sides directly to each other, and then they meet in the center, right there. And then you just hit check. It takes a little bit to render it. And now you have a curved grill. Now I'm going to go into a more complicated way to pattern onto a curved surface. So I'm going to go into new. So the first thing, like we did in the last one, we're just going to make an arbitrary sized rectangle, 150 by 300. Right. And we're just going to extrude this. I'm extruding at 10. And now we have to, this is where things get a little bit more difficult. This is the way I like to do it. I make a plane, and I offset it by 10 millimeters. Then I do a sketch on this plane. and then I convert entities of this up here, like the sketch. And then now we're going to get into some tools that you guys have not really seen before. So if you go over here, if you don't have it, you can click View, Toolbars, and then Features, and then it should give you this. If not, you could do Insert, Features, and then everything that you want right here, or not over there in Surface, and then you have it all right here. So what we're going to do is we are going to use a planar surface. So it's going to give you this call out, and you're just going to select your sketch that you just made, and it's going to make a surface that is just a essentially a thin line extrusion, where it's just a flat surface. So now I'm going to go onto this sketch, and like we did in the last example, I'm just going to make a hexagon. I'm going to make it 12, and then make sure that I make this horizontal. Nope, that's not what I wanted. And just make this horizontal. And I'm going to come back out. And then you're going to extrude this, and you could do it 2-plane if you want to. I like make sure that it goes all the way through, so you see that it's going through that plane, and you're just going to hit your check mark. So then you should have a little nub like this. And then you're going to do the exact same thing that we did just before. You're going to do fill pattern, then you're going to do this, and you can experiment with how you want it to be. So I'm going to do it here, and then I want more instances, so I'm going to bring the distance between them down. So the less distance you have between them, the more instances you can get. And inversely, the more distance you have between them, the less instances you're going to get. So I'm going to have this nice little grill pattern right here. And then I'm just going to hit check. And now we have this little thing right here. And then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to delete your face. So you're going to go over here to delete face, or if you don't have this toolbar over here, you go to surface, and where is it? Surface, features. If you can't find it, you can just go to delete face, and it's up here. Delete face, and then you're just going to select this back side of your extrusion, and then you're going to cut it. And then it should leave you something that looks like here, where you have a bunch of holes on this side, but it's kind of like a tray. Zoom back out. And now you're going to want to trim the surface. So when you're asking your trim tool, it's like this, and then the surface that you're trimming, theoretically, I don't know. So you're going to delete that face, and then here, you're just like this, then hit your check. It'll take a bit to render again. And then you can just get rid of this, and now you have your grill. This is going to be the pattern that you're going to superimpose onto your curve. So now we need to make the curve that we're going to deform this onto. So again, there are multiple different ways that you can do this next step, but I'm just doing it the way that makes the most sense to me. So first I'm going to do the sketch, and I'm going to sketch on this plane. And I'm going to make just a run-of-the-mill curve, arbitrary right now, and then you're going to add a couple of relations. I like to do this first before I do anything, so that it doesn't get all wonky. I'm going to make these two horizontal to each other, And now I'm going to make this curve coincident to your midpoint. And then I'm going to make the center of this curve vertical to this. So now the only thing that I can change is the radius and the length. So now we're going to make the length of this. So since we want it to be around the same size as our grill pattern that we just made, we're going to make the arc length the same as the width. So you're just going to go to Smart Dimension, Smart Dimension, then you're going to click the endpoints, and then for your third click, you're going to click the actual arc, and then it's going to give you the arc length. And then we're going to put that as 175. And now you can choose whatever radius you want. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to do 150. Okay, so now we have this arc, which is what we're going to sweep. Exit sketch. So now we have this cross-sectional area of it. Now we're going to make another sketch, but this time we're going to do the path that it's going to follow. So I'm going to go over there. Same thing as I did before. Just make a curve and apply your constraints. Make that horizontal. I'm going to make this arc coincident to that. And I'm going to make the center point of this vertical to the origin. And that is just so it doesn't move around. And I have it in the same point. And now we're going to make this arc length. Again, we want it to be the same length as our pattern, so we're going to make it 300. And here you could do whatever you want. I'm going to make it 250 for your radius. Exit. So now we have a nice little skeleton for the sweep that we're going to do. Again, so we're going to go into surfaces. You can insert, surface, and then we're going to do a surface sweep. So for the profile that we wanted to follow, or the profile that we're going to be sweeping, I'm going to select this little cross section right here, and then the path, select this one. Now it gives you a couple different ways you could do this. You could do a half sweep, going this way, go this way, but since we want it to be the full length, we're going to select this one in the middle, and it's going to give us a full length sweep. Let's click the check mark right there, and now all the hard stuff is done. Now it's time to actually superimpose this onto our surface. So you're going to insert, features, and you're going to go down to deform. Now with your deform, first let me show all these curves, make it easier. So you're going to go around and you're just going to define your deform. And you're going to define all the edges and the curves that you want this to follow. Oop, just forgot a step. First, we have to go to the sketch and just going to make some guide curves or guidelines. Going to make a line straight down the middle of your grill. And now you're going to make another line, cutting it in half. Okay. So now you have this. Okay. Now we're ready to deform. Insert, features, deform. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to go around and select all of these edges, and you're going to start seeing your surface start to appear in the preview if you have it like that. So you're going to select this edge and then the corresponding edge, hit add, then go here, and you're just going to do that all the way around. You want to make sure that you are selecting the right things. So for this top one in blue, you're going to want to have it connected to the pattern that you're going to want to superimpose. And then the pink is what you're superimposing it to. And then you have this middle line, and that's going to go to this curve. And this one, which one I just did? Okay. And now we're going to go here. And it's going to go here. And now you want to actually select what it is that you're going to be superimposing, because SOLIDWORKS doesn't actually know that. So you're going to go down to this deformed region and just select your surface trim. And now you could do curve direction. And then, let's go back. And then hit check. And now you're going to get this funny little thing right here, where it kind of looks like what you want it to be. So you're just going to click on this surface and then hit hide. Now you can see right here that it doesn't quite look right. There's a bunch of bumps and it just doesn't look right at all. So before you finish that, you're going to want to make sure that you go over to this region where it says the shape options and select this little small mountain over here. Bring this to the middle, and when it goes down to match, say curve direction. Hit the check mark again. And now you have a much more uniform curve.